And now it's time for Australia's favourite breakfast program, Good Morning TAFE. And here are your hosts for this morning, Jane and Stephen.
Authorities are again pleading with people not to swim at unpatrolled beaches after a young boy was swept out to sea on the New South Wales south coast.
Around 6:30 last night, a 9-year-old boy and an 11-year-old girl were swimming here at Corrimal Beach near Wollongong when they ran into trouble. They'd only been in the water for a matter of minutes before being caught in a rip.
Lifeguards on jet skis as well. I've had a chat to the family's pastor. They are members of the local Church of Christ here. They say the congregation is absolutely devastated, as is his small family, but the community is rallying.
When it comes to those sort of horrible, tragic stories, do you personally get a choice of how much you actually broadcast or how much you actually talk about on radio, or you're told, you need to discuss all this?
Oh, well, of course we do. Well, your choices are modified by several things. One is just your perception of the audience and how much they want to know.
Mm-hmm.
The other is journalistic ethics.
Mm-hmm.
The other is ABC's policies, and we have a code of conduct in which we don't do certain things that perhaps other stations do. A good example of maybe crossing the line on that was that story of that little boy. I think it was a Congolese boy that got swept out to sea at, I think it was Bellambi or Taraji Beach.
Looking for him for days.
And one of our journos was at the press conference and was recording an interview with the police officer, probably the head of the local area community. And in the background you could hear the mother screaming, and actually attempted to throw herself off the balcony and jump out of the arms of her relatives and jump onto the beach and jump into the water.
Find him. Yeah.
As you would. The sun is going down and it's dark and they haven't found him, and I can't imagine. And so this was incredible, and unfortunately the audio was so terrible with the wind, it was hardly usable, but we could hear the mother's distress, and we played about 30 seconds of that in the morning just to set the scene. And that upset a few people, and they said, no, that's really tabloid, we think you've gone too far, and I had to have a discussion with the boss about that. I'd given 2 warnings. I'd warned people at 7:44 when I spoke to Steve as a preview, and also at 8:35 after the news. I said, look, this is really distressing, but I just want to set the scene about what's happened here. Then we went to the journalists on the scene still at the beach and the lifesavers, but there were people really upset by that, and it's possible that was unnecessary. We felt it set the scene. We didn't identify the boy or the mother, and I'd given 2 warnings, and we felt we'd given people adequate explanation that it was upsetting. And if I know we're going to be covering an upsetting subject or playing something like that, we would normally warn people. Just like they do on Foreign Correspondent when they're showing pictures of genocidal murders in Rwanda or something like that. Well, exactly. Tortured bodies in the streets of Syria. Exactly. But it's not black and white. But we have a code of conduct that we're judged by, really. And things that get thrown on us from a great height if we're perceived to have not stuck to that.
Well, Australians love their ABC, and very definitely don't want to see the tabloid stuff, but you know, there is that grey area, of course, and some people.
Yeah, I mean, we certainly didn't want to sensationalise it. We wanted to, bring out the tragedy of it. I mean, we had 5 minutes we could have played. It was just horrendous, but that was our judgment, and we were our bosses in the news felt it was okay.
Down the track, the possibility is that you've saved a life because a parent may become more vigilant.
Well, you hope so.
Who knows? You never know those things, of course.